Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into the absolute latest global news. We're looking at the top 10 headlines, really, as of July 13th, 2025, from just the past, 12 hours. Think of this as your essential briefing, cutting through the noise, giving you the insights you need to understand what's shaping our world, like, right now.
Yeah, it's pretty stark how interconnected everything is, isn't it? You see a tariff threat in Washington and bam, hours later it's making waves on stock exchanges in Riyadh.
Yeah.
So our mission here really is to synthesize these immediate things happening,
Yeah.
helping you understand not just what happened, but, why it matters. The bigger picture, you should walk away with a genuinely informed perspective, quick and efficient.
Right. And the global trade landscape, wow, it's currently a swirling vortex, tariffs, high-stakes negotiations. Let's start there. What I find really compelling is this ongoing standoff, EU and the U.S.
Exactly.
We're hearing Ursula von der Leyen confirming the EU is delaying its counter-tariff package, pushing it to early August. That feels like a signal, right? They still want to negotiate.
Oh, absolutely. It's a clear signal. But it's happening even with President Trump basically laying down the law. 30% tariffs on EU imports August 1st. That's the threat.
Looming large.
Yeah. And, the crucial thing here is the EU isn't just like kicking the can down the road. They are ready. They've got a, frankly, substantial $72 billion retaliatory plan waiting. And they might use their anti-coercion instrument.
That's that newer tool, right, for economic blackmail.
Precisely. It lets them hit back fast if, diplomacy just completely fails.
Yeah.
And you hear someone like German Finance Minister Lars Klingbeil, he's emphasizing this firm but, open approach, basically saying, look, our hand is outstretched.
But not forever.
Exactly. Not indefinitely. They're ready to protect their industries robustly.
That strong stance, it feels pretty significant, especially when you look at Trump's wider tariff moves. I mean, he's announced sweeping new tariffs everywhere, it seems. 30% on Mexican goods, a hefty 35% on Canadian products, plus bumping up general tariffs to, 15-20%?
Yeah, it's broad.
And the markets. They're reacting cautiously, you could say. Allies are definitely protesting, negotiations are ongoing, but what are the ripple effects you're seeing?
Well, if you connect the dots, these tariff strategies, they create huge ripples, just widespread effects. They put immense pressure on major economies. And it just highlights how interdependent we all are globally. Yeah. We're already seeing it in the Gulf stock exchanges. They're reacting nervously.
And you mentioned Riyadh.
Right. Saudi's Tadawul, it dropped 0.2%. Qatar's market was flat. Egypt's EGX 30 fell. And this tension, it stems directly from these tariff threats, plus, the expectation that the Fed won't act. It just clearly shows how exposed that region is to U.S. economic policy. And really raises that big question, doesn't it, about how effective tariffs really are as a primary negotiation tool, long term anyway. History kind of shows these high-stakes gambles often backfire. You get retaliation that hurts your own domestic industries just as much. It can become a lose-lose.
Yeah, a dangerous game. And these economic pressures, they're not just hitting nations. They're forcing global companies like NVIDIA to rethink things, especially in huge markets like China. Let's look at NVIDIA's China strategy. CEO Jensen Huang is heading to Beijing, right, July 16th for a briefing.
Yeah, a high-profile one.
This trip, it really seems to reinforce their strategy there. Despite all the ongoing U.S. chip export restrictions, they're still chasing that, $17 billion Chinese market, even with all the political heat.
It's quite something.
What's the tightrope they're walking there?
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it, how these huge companies and even entire countries are forced to navigate these incredibly complex geopolitical currents. They're trying to keep economic ties alive while, sticking to their strategic alignments. For NVIDIA, it's balancing profit, market access, a massive market with U.S. government rules.
Tricky.
Very. And Australia, that's another prime example. This delicate balancing act with China. Prime Minister Albanese just arrived in Shanghai. He's meeting President Xi Jinping.
What's on their agenda?
Key things are critical mineral screening and obviously balancing trade ties with all this U.S. tariff volatility hanging in the air. And notably, Australia reaffirmed its support for the status quo on Taiwan.
Interesting.
Yeah, it really showcases how countries are trying to lock down their economic future while, tiptoeing around superpower rivalries.
Right. So beyond these economic skirmishes, there are also direct security flashpoints. also influenced by these geopolitical shifts. So, shifting focus a bit, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is heading to Washington July 14th and 15th, meetings with President Trump, senior officials, and the agenda includes possible new weapon support for Ukraine.
Yeah, it's significant.
How might this mark a shift in U.S. aid strategy, and what could that actually mean on the ground?
Well, it certainly raises important questions about the evolving dynamics of the conflict and how alliances like NATO are adapting, how they provide support, address threats. Rutte's visit could signal maybe a more direct or perhaps more robust form of U.S. military aid, and that could potentially change the calculus on the battlefield, influence the pace or, well, the nature of the conflict itself.
And on the ground, the reality is still brutal.
Absolutely. We're seeing Ukraine's SBU, their domestic intelligence agency, reporting they killed suspected Russian FSB operatives near Kyiv.
FSB, Russia's Federal Security Service.
That's right, and this operation apparently targeted people allegedly tied to the assassination of a Colonel Ivan Voronich. Yeah. Just a very clear illustration of the intelligence warfare, the covert ops happening behind the big headlines.
Has Moscow responded?
Interestingly, no, not publicly so far, which, that silence itself could be quite telling.
Okay, and finally, two distinct stories, but important ones, reflecting internal social dynamics on one side and new economic partnerships on the other. So first, migrant tensions in Spain. Clashes erupted in Torre-Pacheco. Far-right activists and North African migrants.
Yeah, quite serious.
5 people injured, 1 arrest. Local authorities condemned hate speech, boosted police presence, promised more arrests. What does this local incident tell us about maybe the bigger picture in Europe?
Well, what really stands out to me is the stark contrast. You've got these moments of internal social unrest bubbling up even while the world feels so interconnected. And then at the same time, you see these efforts to forge new, broad economic partnerships, seeking stability, growth.
Right, 2 very different energies.
Exactly. This incident in Spain, while local, it definitely highlights these broader European challenges. Managing migration, the rise of far-right sentiment. It's a reminder that global interconnectedness isn't just about trade deals. It's also about these internal social pressures that can, well, ignite.
And on the flip side, the more optimistic note.
On the more optimistic side, there's this significant trade breakthrough. The EU and Indonesia. They've reached a political breakthrough on a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, a CEPA.
Basically a big free trade deal.
Essentially, yes. A broad agreement designed to streamline trade, investment. It aims to unlock potential, particularly in agriculture and automotive sectors. And you can see this as a key opportunity, especially in today's unpredictable global landscape. It's a strategic pivot, really, towards new growing markets while protectionism is rising elsewhere.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? We've covered a lot today. I mean, from the huge impact of global trade tariffs, strategic moves by tech giants and nations, to critical security developments, and these contrasting stories of social tension and new economic collaboration.
Yeah. Every single one of these top stories, just from today, July 13th, 2025, they all feed into this larger, really dynamic global narrative. They just highlight that constant push and pull, don't they, between economic pressure, geopolitical strategy, and social stability. It's really a testament to the complex, constantly shifting landscape we're all navigating every day.
So here's a thought to leave you with.
As you go about your day, maybe consider how these events, which can seem so separate, a terror threat over here, a diplomatic meeting there, and the local clash in Spain, a new trade deal, how they're actually all threads in the same global tapestry. How might these immediate headlines, when you weave them together, actually reshape the world you experience? From the stuff you buy to the stability of the whole global economy in ways that are maybe subtle, but also maybe quite profound.